Okay. Hello, everybody. Mic check. Make sure you can hear me. Because we've been having some tech issues today, but we are all set now. Here we are. We have MiladyConfetti, an amazing creator, here to chat with us, and Maryse. Yes, Maryse from Stonewall, chatting with us today. So just let us know if you can hear us. Just want to make sure we are all good. Milady, can you say hello for us?
Hello, everyone. Hi.
All right, we should be all good. Welcome in, everybody. It is Pride Month, and we are so excited for everything we have in store this month. We have a ton of different interviews with different creators and different charities that are involved with Unified for Pride this month. If you want to check out the charities that are going to be involved with our event, you could do exclamation charities in chat. And to learn a little bit about Stonewall Community Foundation, you can do exclamation Stonewall in chat. And to check out our schedule, you can do exclamation schedule in chat as well. You'll get those commands and it'll respond. So, first, we are starting out Pride Month with MiladyConfetti, and it is actually her first Pride Month.
It is.
I am so excited for you. So excited for you. And we are chatting with Stonewall Community Foundation today. Thank you so much for joining us. So let's start off with, of course, intros. Milady, tell us about yourself. And we do have your pronouns on screen, but you can share them as well.
Hello, my name is MiladyConfetti. I use she, her pronouns. I am a Dead by Daylight streamer for anybody who knows that game. I mostly focus on horror and dystopian content on YouTube, and I'm very excited to be here today. And I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm honored. Thank you. Thank you. And Maurice, tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Stonewall. We would love to hear about it.
Sure. Hey, everyone. My name is Maryse Pierce. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the program manager at Stonewall Community Foundation. We are a foundation based in New York City that raises funds and other resources for LGBTQ organizations, not just in New York City, but across the country. I've been at Stonewall for about 2 years, and this is my, I don't know, I think 18th Pride or something like that.
Wow.
That is, yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. Something about this month just makes me happy, and I'm always smiling. I am always smiling. Always smiling. I love this. So, of course, we have Unify for Pride. Maurice, can you tell us about the event since Stonewall is running it and what came about to create this event with Tiltify?
Sure. So Unified for Pride is an opportunity and a really exciting way that LGBTQ people and our allies can work together to raise money for the most vulnerable parts of our community. So there are brilliant and talented content creators like Milady who will be raising funds all this month for a variety of LGBTQ organizations, ranging on topics from prison abolition and supporting LGBTQ folks who are
I'm sorry, you're
incarcerated.
cutting out just a little bit. You probably have to speak
Oh,
louder for us. Sorry.
oh, sure.
Didn't want to cut you off.
Um, yeah. So I was just saying that the organizations that people are raising money for range from prison abolition and supporting LGBTQ folks who are incarcerated to supporting LGBTQ youth in terms of suicide hotlines and other social supports. So we're really excited to partner not just with Tiltify, but with all of these content creators to raise money for all of the parts of the LGBTQIA plus community.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That is so exciting. And I know, Milady, you are fundraising for Stonewall this
Yeah.
month. Do you have anything special planned that you can let us know about? Maybe. Maybe.
Like all month or just like
All month. Yes. I want to know everything you're doing this month for
I'm doing so
Pride.
much. I'm doing
So
so much
much.
this month. So we have a couple of charities that will be going on. So obviously we're doing the main campaign for Stonewall with
Hmm.
Unified Pride. At the end of the month, my stream team and community that I created, coinciding with Stream Queens, we will be raising money for the Black Trans Women of Color Collective. Um, we also have an event that will be going on for Juneteenth, because that is still in June, and that
Yeah.
matters. We just have a lot of things going on. There's other things I can't talk about that are NDA, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's gonna be a great month.
Oh my
Very busy for my
gosh.
first Pride.
But I feel like you are always busy. You are
I
always
really am.
moving.
I need to chill out like one of these months. I
I
won't, but one day.
You should make one of your fundraising goals for you to take a week off.
Oh,
Mm.
I should.
Yeah, how about that? You deserve a week off. You do so much for activism, pride, everything. You know, you are really, really inspirational to so many women and
I
just
really be
black.
chilling.
Milady, Milady, let's talk about everything you have done this year. A lot. It's a whole entire list. Whole entire list. We are so proud of you and we're so happy to have you in our community, especially with Tiltify. And speaking of Stonewall, I just wanted to go more in detail of how funds directly support Stonewall, Maurice, if you can help
Sure.
us out with that.
Yeah. So Stonewall, I in some ways think of my work at Stonewall as being a queer matchmaker for organizations and leaders and individuals. A lot of our work is about connecting people and organizations to the resources that they need. So one example was last summer, kind of at the height of the pandemic, especially here in New York, we had an individual grants program that gave $500 checks directly to queer people with a focus on sex
Wow.
workers, queer youth, homeless folks, because we knew that what people really needed at the time was money. And so we made it as easy as possible for folks to get money to then use for whatever they needed, whether that's groceries or rent or medication or school.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
we
didn't
were
know
able to
that.
get
Yeah.
we were able to get checks to almost 200 individuals.
That's good.
Wow. Oh, wow. I did not know any of that with Stonewall. That is very informative. Thank you. So, how has the pandemic made an impact on Stonewall and your work at all? Did it make it more difficult?
Yeah, I mean, I think the need from our community is just
Mhm.
so great. You know, there are so many organizations that are doing so much more with less, you know,
Mm.
whether that's shelters that all of a sudden have to now also keep their residents safe from COVID, or whether that's, you know, food pantries that are having a huge increase in demand.
Mhm.
So I think we're seeing a much higher need. But the upside, I would say, is that we're also seeing more gifts and more small gifts from individuals. You know, people
Yeah.
who are reaching out and saying, you know, I don't have a lot of money, but here's, you know, $25 or here's $50, and that really goes a long way. So I think it's really shown us the importance of small donations, of individual donations.
Sorry, we still have you cutting out a little bit with your mic.
Oh, sorry. I said it's just showing the importance of people doing what they can, and that even small amounts go a long way.
Oh, that is absolutely incredible. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing that. And I know the pandemic has been absolutely crazy for all of us. But going more into Pride Month, what does Pride mean to you, milady? And especially being your first Pride, how is it going for you so far?
Well, it's day 2. So far so good.
Good. A lot can happen
uh,
in 2 days.
Honestly, a lot happened in a day. Yesterday, I went to a local university, just like, because I know there was a Black career organization that was doing something more so in the morning. But just as far as like Twitch is concerned and like the digital space, because this is really how we've been connecting through Twitter, social media,
Mm-hmm.
Twitch, and all those other things. It's been extremely welcoming. There was some, anxieties I had going in because, Twitter and its rhetoric can be a dumpster fire. That's a nice way to put that.
Yeah.
So, but I know that my community has been extremely welcoming. And I just felt very I feel at home. I feel like one with myself. And I'm still on that journey too of self-discovery. So like it's nice to know that like even though, I finally have the either the verbiage or just the knowledge of say like, okay, this is how I identify and this is a part of me, that journey doesn't end and that I have a support system behind me to keep going along with that journey, if that makes sense. So
that,
that's
that makes
so
complete
in
sense.
one day, that's pretty much what I've come to.
How long have you been on that journey, do you think, of finding yourself?
um Probably honestly since high school. When I started like questioning things, because I think when as I never even heard of the term asexuality until college till grad school, but like I never had the word for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, I identify as gray ace slash asexual because for me it's a fluid spectrum for me and how I understand it. And that's the one thing that I know that my community, especially my mods, have been helping me understand that like, your identity is what it means for you and what makes sense for you. And that's really just I just didn't have the words. And when I met somebody who gave me, oh, that's what this is this what you're feeling, and gave me
Mm-hmm.
like words and a definition and then apply it and to think on it, I think that's just when things started to just come together like in the past
Mm.
maybe 3 4 years. But I would say probably since high school I was like, what's going on here, you know
Could you
Yeah,
it's a very it's a very straight
that's
I'm very to the point. I'm
no,
like, what's
and
this?
that's why we love you. And could you go more in detail of explaining what gray ace means?
Yeah. So I feel sexual attractions very rarely. It's extremely rare. That's why I mostly say I'm asexual, but like there are times when I do, maybe 3 times in my entire years of life. I keep my age to myself, but um in my entire life, which I mean, whatever. It's whatever to me. But yeah, that's essentially what it means.
Wow. And I just heard of that term last year. So I feel like we are all still learning. So thank you for educating us on that. And
Yeah.
it's so many identifiers, and I love that because people are really finding themselves this year. And
Yeah.
so many people have came out, and it just makes me so happy. I'm like, oh, I love this because they really are finding themselves, and it
Yeah.
makes me so happy. I
And I
could keep
think when you
smiling.
when you have more access to like terminology when things aren't so like shunned and when you have open conversations and people are willing to be like, no, this is it literally had like I
Mm.
literally for me, I mean I'm not complete TMI, but like my GYN was the person who introduced me to what asexuality was, because I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't understand. I'm like, there's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with me. I'm like, I don't have a low libido, it's just like I don't feel anything. And he's like, oh no, that's what this is. No, that's here's this. Boom. Okay.
I love that
I'll see you next time.
I love that you had a gynecologist who was like culturally competent enough to
Yeah. He
know
was
that
the
and didn't
coolest
like,
person ever.
That's
yeah,
rare too.
that's
Yeah.
amazing. You should drop the name of that
And he was a guy,
gynecologist.
yeah. And it was just very interesting. He was like, yeah, that's what that is. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll see you later. I'm like, okay. Thank you.
We
Thank
should
you.
all be so lucky.
I count myself very lucky. But it, that sparked that conversation. And then, I had other resources that I leaned on, but I was willing to also like read a lot. You know, even in social justice, you're constantly learning. Not everybody knows everything, but also I think that it can apply to the self. You can always be improving yourself in some type of way, whether it's a skill, whether that's, empathy, whatever it is. So for me, just having access to resources and constantly educating myself, I found myself too. And not being afraid to ask questions, because I was like, dude, is there something wrong with me? He was like, no, you're fine.
Was that hard approaching your doctor about that?
He, I just didn't know how to phrase it. So it wasn't
Yeah,
necessarily, it was hard because I just didn't have the words. Cause I'm like, I'm like, I have this, but what is this?
correct.
Because
Yeah.
something's not connecting for me. And it's like, I was like, I'm like, just can you explain that to me? And
Mm-hmm.
and it was just very straightforward to him. And I love that he was very to the point. Um, so it wasn't necessarily hard because of just like anxiety, because like he's my doctor. Like I'm there. You're on my time. Answer my
Mm-hmm.
questions. That's pretty much how I feel about doctors, especially as a Black
Yeah.
woman in the gynecology field. No, you're on my
Mm,
time.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
But it was just more so I just didn't have the words, so I explained it as best as I could, and he was just like, "No, here it is. You're fine.
Wow.
See you next time."
Well, hopefully someone that is listening, they're trying to find the way of asking as well, and they hear your story and they feel inspired. Because that's
Yeah.
what you do every day, inspire.
Yeah, and I just want to say for people, because I know like asexuality and aromantic. I'm not aromantic, but like that's what the A, umbrella
Mm-hmm.
is,
Mm-hmm.
stands for. Not all asexuals are the same. Not all asexual people are, um, are what do you call it? Like that. Like, I don't know what the word is. I'm reaching for words, but are like repulsed by sex or anything like that. There's some asexuals who do have sex. Like it's just I need people to like not put asexuals into a cookie cutter box because it fits a
Mm-hmm.
narrative that makes you comfortable. If you want to know about people and how they identify, respectfully ask questions. And the thing is, if that person says no, walk away, and that's none of your business. The answer is no. But to not put people into a box and to respect people for who they are, and that's on period. And know that A does not stand for ally. So don't even come with me with that.
It
That
does
is,
not.
yeah. I second everything you said. That's why I love that Ashley asked, what does that term mean to you, right? Like not
Yeah.
what is a dictionary definition of that term, but what does it mean for you in your life? Because
Yeah.
two people can use the same letter to identify and have completely different experiences
Yeah.
and interpret that word in different ways. And that is
Yeah.
valid and real.
And you are valid every day. Let's make that
Okay. I'm
clear.
not
You
trying to
are all
cry.
valid.
I got my
No,
Fenty on.
no,
Okay.
Fenty will be by your side. You'll be okay. Watch. You are valid, and I hope you know that. And if people make you feel like as if screw them, they can go. They can go somewhere. They don't respect you and any other people that have the same experience. And it's really sad, but
Yeah.
you are valid and you always will be. And I had a question in chat from Robin Maurice. Are there any other terms that are newer or maybe we haven't heard of that might be helpful to know?
Hmm. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm someone who's been doing LGBTQ advocacy and education for over 10 years, and I am still constantly learning terms. So in the last couple of years, terms like demi boy or demi girl, right? Someone who identifies maybe as a boy or girl some of the time, but not completely, and might fall under the trans or non-binary umbrella. That's a new term to me, but one that I know that makes a lot of people feel really seen and validated. They're like, oh, this describes my experience of my gender.
Yeah.
I think that those words are great. And then all of the terms that Milady was mentioning under the ace and aro umbrella of gray sexual or demisexual, I think in some ways are newer, and I just love the visibility that these terms are getting.
Yeah.
I love that. My question is for Maurice, how do we work on visibility of that sort? What can we do trying to form this question? Um, Allies, what can allies do to have these conversations with their communities or family and friends about these terms and respecting others? Kind
Sure.
of a
I mean,
hard
I think,
question.
yeah. And, and Milady, feel free to jump in as well. I think
Yeah.
that some things that allies can do are to educate yourself, right? There is just so much information and so much good information on the internet these days, whether that's YouTube or Twitch or other platforms, that if you have a question about a term that's new to you, you can find information without putting that burden on, your one trans friend or your one bi friend to have to educate. That might be the first time you've asked,
Mhm.
your bi friend to define something, but maybe it's the 8th time that week that someone has asked them. And when you're
Mhm.
Yeah.
a minority in that way, it gets exhausting. Um, and I also think just believing people, using the language that people use to identify themselves, reflecting that back to them is really important. So, if someone tells you my pronouns are she, hers, don't use they, them pronouns for them. If someone says, I'm bi, don't call them queer unless they also identify as queer. I think that um, using the language that people use for themselves is really important and really validating.
Okay. Um, you're still
Oh,
cutting out at sometimes. I'm sorry. Um, I'm not sure if you want to move your mic closer. I don't know if that's possible, Maurice, at all.
Sure, I can
Yeah,
try.
I just
Yeah.
want everyone to hear you. You're saying good stuff there. Okay, perfect. We will try that next. And Milady, I know you want to touch on that as well.
yeah. I would say when you're an ally to, any marginalized cause, to make sure that you're not centering yourself and speaking over.
Mhm.
I'm I'm a huge like stickler of this, especially like in the, going in the when we're in a global pandemic and like a lot of the resources that we have are online. I often talk about like I personally hate the quote tweeting feature because I think it's detracting from, marginalized people's voices that typically say things the first time. And then often being quote tweet and be like, yeah, this. I didn't ask for your input. That's just me. But the thing is, that also happens in real life. If you're at a protest, you're speaking about Black Lives Matter, you're speaking about, X, Y, and Z, and then, an ally will get up and, center themselves. Just remember, if you're an ally, it's not about you. You're there to amplify or be the cheerleader or be what the group needs at that moment. If they
Mhm.
need a shield, that's what your role needs to be. If they need a cheerleader, that's what they need to be. If they need you to be the silent bystander, that's what you need to be. And the thing is, if you're upset by that, then you're not an ally and that's not a space that you need to be in, or because you're not there to learn, you're there to make things about you. I'm a very much person. I'm from a higher education background. I've sat in spaces and, I've run women's centers, I've worked closely with LGBTQIA plus centers. I've been in situations where I've asked people to leave because they're not beneficial to the situation. Um, and ultimately, that's on them to grow and learn from that experience. I don't play that. I'm very, very tough about that. Um, but also, yes, like constantly educating yourself. Everybody doesn't know everything, Maurice, you're saying you've been in this for 18 plus years. Did I hear you?
Yeah, I came out like 18 years ago.
Oh, okay, yeah. But I've been going in 8 years now. Like, you're still always learning, constantly growing. So I think as long as you're centering that education and actually doing it, because if you're
Mhm.
not doing it, I promise you it will slip through the cracks and it will come through and it's very easy to spot. Very easy. So make sure the things that you're doing, or if you're gonna burden people with educating you, you pay them. I'm gonna let that sit. You pay them. But the thing is, when you get that education, you actually work with the readings and you work with the
Mhm.
the seminars and the things that they give you. So that is a growing opportunity for you.
And they said what they said. So I know we were talking about resources. Do you have any resources that you can think on the top of your head? that allies can educate themselves with? I know you're a reader, my lady.
Me? I mean, a couple of resources that I go to. I like a lot of academic work, so a lot of my stuff comes from either the Trevor Project is always like updating their website with different things to read constantly. Um, I also there's this one professor, I cannot think of his name right now. I like a lot of his works that he does. I think he retired. He used to work at University of Pennsylvania, but he's somebody who is a lot of his older work is dated under LGB, like way back in the day. He's a bit on the older side, which is okay. But obviously his research has grown. If I find that, I'll put that on my Twitter. A lot of his readings, but um, those are a lot of things doing. Right now, I'm reading a lot of Black feminist things.
Mm.
Because that's very much I just the every year the topic of feminism and inclusivity of weeding out white supremacy from those spaces. So that's
Hmm.
something that I'm really focusing on right now. But also for allies, also realizing intersectionality. Please read anything by Kimberly Crenshaw. Period. Period. A Black queer woman, please. Because intersectionality has to be the key in any movement that you do, whether you're an ally, whether that's you with your marginalized identity, because you never just walk into a room as one thing, as one identity, as one person.
Hmm.
So please interact with her work, get it memorized, sleep with I don't know, just get it memorized, please. And also reading up and on the skill of empathy. I know Brene Brown has amazing books on empathy, sympathy, but especially empathy, and knowing that it is a skill that needs to constantly be developed. So it's a
Wow.
couple of things for me.
You know, intersectionality. Can you go into what that means?
Yeah. Oh, feel free to jump in, please. I feel like I'm talking a lot. So
Go for
intersectionality
it.
is a term that was coined by Kimberly Crenshaw. It is a theory that states that a person, as I was saying before, has multiple identities. Those identities
Okay.
can be an oppressed identity, that can be a privileged identity, and how those things intersect and how the world perceives and interacts with you. So, take me, for example. I am
Hmm.
a Black woman, Black asexual woman. When I walk into any space, I also throw in left-handed because that matters. Because if you're a lefty, you know that this world was not meant for you.
It's true. I'm also
Not
like,
built for you.
yeah, like most queer people, I am also a lefty. So.
Yes. So it's like we have special designated stores for our left-handedness anyway. So for me, I'm seemingly able-bodied until you ask me questions that I may or may not answer. But that's a privilege that I have to be, perceived that way. Um, what else? Having the marginalized identity. When I talk about feminist spaces, I
Hmm.
am a Black woman. So a lot of feminist spaces tend to be built by white women who, while being marginalized as women, don't don't often check their white supremacy. So when those two don't really mix, you create a space that's not really intersectional for people, for BIPOC women. Um, so that's pretty much the basis of it. But like I said, interact with any of her thesis. Her thesis is a little it's not outdated, but it has been updated. But if you want to read her original thesis, you can. But definitely interact with a lot of her recent workings as well.
Wow.
Yeah, when I think of her work, I remember, and I can't remember if this is from her directly or someone talking about
Mhm.
intersectionality, but the idea that, if you're in a car accident on that happens at the intersection of, First Avenue and 10th Street, like you're not at one or the other, you're at both at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And so it's the idea that when you have marginalized identities, it's not that I'm experiencing racism and then I'm experiencing sexism. I'm always experiencing both. I'm always
Right.
experiencing a racialized sexism and a gender specific racism. I can't
Yes.
I can't tease out where one begins and one ends.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
and that is Yeah.
That
So
is
then
I think that was
powerful.
her. I think that was her at like a public speaking event because I remember her saying that. Yeah,
That
it's
is
a great. That's a great analogy.
powerful. Yeah, that got my brain going. I said, "Whoa, that makes so much sense." And was there any resources that Stonewall could offer allies and just the LGBT community on the site,
Yeah,
Maryse?
I think that a lot of our grantee partners and a lot of the organizations that are part of Unified for Pride um, put out great resources. Glisten is one that um, puts out resources for educators, for queer
Mm-hmm.
youth,
Mm-hmm.
for anyone working with queer youth in schools.
Mm-hmm.
That whether it's from how to support youth or just about language and how that's constantly evolving. Another great org is the Trans Lifeline, which is both a hotline that also provides funds for trans folks, especially around legal name transitions and gender marker transitions. Those are two of the orgs I want to lift up that are doing great work and that we constantly refer people
Perfect. Sorry. Had a tech error again, but we're okay. Thank
It's
you
all right.
so
Mercury's
much.
in retrograde. We're just gonna blame that.
Right?
to. It is.
Yeah. Thank you so much to the both of you for all your education. Thank you so much. Now, I wanted to dive in to a little bit about what all the work that Stonewall has planned for Pride Month. Is there anything new that's going on? Any new events that you're doing for this month other than
Yeah.
Unified for Pride?
Well, in addition, obviously, to Unified for Pride, our annual gala is coming up in just 2 weeks. It
Two
is
weeks?
virtual,
Okay.
2 weeks, Thursday, June 17th. It is virtual this year for the second time, but in some ways that's exciting because then we get to share it with more people around the world, not just folks who happen to be in New York City. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
be honoring some really amazing LGBTQ community leaders, including Andy Mara, the director of the Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund, um, Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek,
Okay.
the actor Coleman Domingo from Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and Euphoria, and as well as various community organizations. So you can check that out on our website. It will be streaming live, and we are really excited to share that with everyone.
Wow. That is absolutely phenomenal. So we are just all busy for Pride Month.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
So many events, but this is really good because I want Pride to always be this way, and I want it to get even more busier, even more busier, even more loud on social media, everywhere across the board. So we're doing amazing, and I'm glad we have this event going on with Tiltify. So
Yeah.
that is absolutely insane. And we also had questions in a chat from Tiltify staff regarding Stonewall's work. What does training or resources look like for local leaders?
Yeah, so we one of the things that we do in addition to providing funding for organizations is connecting organizations to capacity building training and resources on everything from advocacy at City Hall to
Hmm.
grassroots fundraising to communications. So we periodically send those resources to our grantee partners because we're not just about fun. I mean, funding is obviously important, but we're also
Hmm.
about building up those organizations and those leaders so that they can best do their work.
And could you give an example of how you do build up those leaders?
Sure. We, periodically have leadership development programs or trainings. Our last one was in the fall of 2019, so
Hmm.
before the pandemic. But we, worked with various LGBT orgs across the country. They were, matched them with coaches so that, as they're doing this work, they can also develop the skills that they need to be the best leaders for our community. That's something that's really important to us.
Oh, wow. And all over the world. That's really nice. I like that. Thank you so much, Maryse. Thank you. Thank you. And I know we are getting close on time. Chat, please throw in any questions you have for Milady, myself, or Maryse. And yeah, I am
Oh,
so excited to have you both here. And I just wanted to do any closing points with both of you. Any points you wanted to make that we haven't
yeah.
gone over? Milady, you
I
can start
found
us.
I found the guy. I found the professor who I feel
Oh.
bad because I interviewed him for my thesis. Don't tell him. Nobody tell him. But
I
his
didn't
name
hear
is
anything.
Tony Diagelli. That's his name.
Hmm.
My thesis was on Greek life, particularly Divine Nine Greeks. So I had a section in there that ultimately got removed by my professor about the binary of just fraternity and sorority life, but because
Mm.
publishing work is just hard. But Tony Diagelli, he is somebody who he works at the University of Pennsylvania, but he has a lot of work dating back uh, a long time. He's one of the first scholars, I think. Well, not the first, but one of the older scholars on LGBT education and research. Please don't
Wow.
tell him I forgot his name.
And he was at University of Pennsylvania, you said?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
that's where he currently works. I thought he retired, but he's still there.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Still
doing the
working.
work. Work never
Still
ends.
trucking. Yeah. It doesn't. It doesn't. And speaking of the work never ends, past Pride Month, we should still be having these conversations. Um, and I just want to make that clear. Of course, we are all celebrating Pride, and it's the most exciting month. Super, super exciting to work with other LGBT creators. I'm sure you are relating and working with other organizations and such.
Yeah.
Just make sure you are still having these conversations outside of this month. Super, super important.
Yep.
Super important. That goes for almost everything. Black History Month, everything. Everything. Okay? Keep the conversations going. And of course, if you need help with how to get involved, go to Stonewall's site. There's tons of resources to get involved and stay involved outside of Pride Month. And um, could you both touch on how we can stay involved outside of Pride Month? And we can start with you, Maryse, if you like.
Yeah, I think that if you're looking for an organization to get involved in or donate to or volunteer with, there are so many and there's so many issues that it can feel overwhelming. So I would
Mm-hmm.
start small, start local, find one organization maybe in your community, and become a regular donor at $5 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Organizations really um, benefit from those recurring donations.
Mm-hmm.
Or find, a regular, obviously volunteering is harder because of the Panera, but I think that, organizations also, benefit from having, regular donors, or just people getting and staying involved regularly. So, rather than feeling overwhelmed by all of the issues that are out there in the world, and
Yeah.
there are a
Yeah.
lot, find one thing that you care about and commit to it.
Thank you so much. Milady, you can touch on this as well, my dear, if you
Um,
like.
yeah, I say like how to keep the conversations going. I mean, I think I'm gonna echo a lot of what Maurice said, but
Mm-hmm.
because I know it can be very overwhelming to because there's so much going on in the world all the time that it is okay to focus on what you can and what is accessible to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know, like, as somebody who holds multiple marginalized identities, I care about a lot of things, but,
Mm-hmm.
burnout is a thing. So make sure you're protecting your mental health. But, I would say, since a lot of us, I keep going back to like, interacting with social media and stuff like that, make sure you're following a diverse array of people on social media. If you notice that you only follow, one type of, person or one type of, categories of people. Make sure you diversify that.
Mhm.
Um, Attend seminars. A lot of seminars that are out there are free, especially, online. Um, for me, because I mean, I do still go out and, protest. Well, I try to go out and protest. I still try to volunteer at certain things. I know for me, networking has expanded, different activists who I work with and how I, come across different organizations. I was telling
Mhm.
Maurice earlier, when I was volunteering at the March on Washington, the reason how I knew the Stonewall Foundation in New York City was because of an activist who was there at the March on Washington, who I just happened to connect with, um, which is, pretty cool. So it's interesting how a lot of things come full circle and, getting to,
Mhm.
know one another. So, yeah, those are some things that I would say to do.
Wow, so much info. I love it. I'm just taking little mental notes. I'm like, and of course, all the information that we're talking about, you can always go back to the VOD if it is a lot, and I totally understand. Chat, if you're hearing a lot of information, but you can't write it all down, you can always go back to the VOD and watch. It will always be here, and I'm sure it'll be highlighted on our channel. And I did post a link to Milady's fundraiser for Stonewall in chat
Aw,
because,
thank you.
sorry, our bot did not like your links. Sorry, Milady.
Oops.
It didn't like it. And again, thank you, ladies, for talking with me today.
Yeah.
And
This has
I
been
know,
really fun.
yeah, really fun. Thank you. After all our tech issues, we made it,
We
chat.
made it.
We made it.
Take that, Mercury, and your Gatorade. I don't care.
And going back to resources, um, are there any books out there that you know of, Milady? Because I know you're a book reader. I don't know if you talked about any books. Because I'm a book reader.
Talked
And
about academics, like
yeah, I want like,
that I'm definitely not still using my student email
yeah.
for.
Uh,
I would never.
Are you are you looking for fiction, for nonfiction, for
all of
memoir?
it. I like all of it.
I mean, my one of my favorite books that I've read in the last couple of years is
Hmm.
Carmen Maria Machado's In the Dream House,
Mm,
which is a memoir about an abusive queer relationship that she was in, and that she wrote partly because there was just nothing in terms of representation of that kind of abuse and abuse
Mm.
in queer communities specifically. And I mean, so obviously, content warning.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Hmm.
you take care of yourself? But I found it just beautifully written and just so important, such an important addition. Um,
Are we having cats going
Oh,
everywhere?
no, I kicked them out. No, I actually bought these books from Target. I'm sorry. Yeah, I feel so bad because I'm like, you can read academic books. That's fun.
No, you're fine.
No. But this is Asexual Fairy Tales.
Oh.
That I am going through right now. And then Asexual Myths and Tales. They're both by Elizabeth Hopkinson. But one thing, like I know that I'm trying to do, is do more writing because I'm finding solace more in just writing and expressing myself and just because you don't want to like feel like you're the odd one out or that there's something wrong with you that needs fixing, that you're not worthy of love or just being seen, and just accept it for who you are. So this is
Wow.
one thing that the reason why I saw these in Target's rainbow capitalism section. So I said, sure, I have $5. I'll
I'm shocked.
read
Like,
these.
well done, Target. That is like
Yeah.
pleasantly surprising.
That
Yeah.
is surprising.
It was online. But
No.
yeah, because there's more stuff online. They had to make never mind. Let me stop. I'm being a little too petty today. But yeah, so I bought these online. But I personally want to do more writing and just see more of myself in writing. I know I'm planning a D&D campaign where I said I mentioned this on my TikTok, but I want to see like more Black women asexuals represented. And just have that be at the forefront where it's not centered on trauma, it's not on pain, or it's not, if they have a, significant other, they're not trying to fix
Yeah.
them and like, oh my God, like I'm madly, like, you know what I mean? Like I just,
Mm-hmm.
that's me. So that's something that I'm personally doing and that I personally have.
Oh, so writing. Okay, I need to work on that.
You do a lot.
I, I need to work on that because I I feel like I know myself, but I don't most of the time. I'm like, I'm a nice person. I'm sweet. I like macaroni and cheese. I know this is really crazy, but I'm like, what else about myself? I like charity fundraising. Um, I like video games. Okay. But let's go deeper into that. That's what I can't do. I can't go deeper into my brain. So maybe
Yeah.
writing will help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Noted. I took notes of everything today. Good job,
Good.
ladies. Thank you. But we are almost wrapping up. So, Milady, where can we find you on socials?
I'm at MiladyConfetti everywhere.
Branding.
Yeah, that's Twitter, that's YouTube. My main YouTube account is called Dystopian Nerd. So that's a little different, but it's connected to my MiladyConfetti other YouTube channel. So you're completely fine if you typed it in and both come up. It's all connected everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. I'll be out here.
Yeah. She's a very busy lady. She does cosplay as well.
Oh yes,
Amazing
I do
cosplay.
that.
Oh yes, I do that. Yes, you do that. Yes.
I'm glad y'all are here to remind me of the stuff I do because I don't even be here half the time.
And Maryse, I guess we will catch up with you throughout Stonewall efforts. I don't know if you want to share where we can find you as well, if you wanted to share.
Yeah,
Keep up
well,
with
I'm
you?
not. I am not nearly as active on social media, but you can find, or just like on all of on the internet. But
Mhm.
stonewallfoundation.org. Our Instagram is at Stonewall Foundation. Same for our YouTube and our Facebook. So that's where you can stay up to date on our work.
Perfect. Thank you so much, my dear. And we have a closing question. Are you ready for it?
I already saw it.
What is it?
Pineapple on pizza. Do we approve?
I
All right,
do.
y'all. It's been real. I'll see y'all.
I'm not afraid to come out about it.
I'm not afraid either. It's delicious. Delicious.
Mm.
My
Chef's
favorite
kiss.
combo is actually, and pineapple, pepperoni, and olives. Black olives.
Yes. Why are we the same?
It's so good. Because here's the thing.
Oh,
The ham that you get on a pizza isn't actually salty enough. Like you need like a good salty pepperoni. Milady is so mad at us. She doesn't want to.
She's ready to leave. In call.
Not afraid to admit it.
Not afraid. What's your what you feeling, Milady? What's your feelings on this?
Oh, utter disgust. Yeah.
Is it because you don't like pineapple or you just don't like them together?
I don't like it on my pizza. No. I have like pineapple for like breakfast or if I'm like before the gym, like if I need like something to, get something flowing in my stomach. But on my pizza, nah. I also don't like ham, like just in general. So it's like,
Oh. So you eat turkey at Thanksgiving?
I don't celebrate holidays.
Okay. But you eat turkey instead of ham. That's what you're saying.
Once in a while, yeah.
All right, we're done. All right.
This has derailed. Tiltify is with me, period.
I love ham and it's so bad. I can just eat ham all day. So
delicious. It's a perfect food.
delicious. Turkey's
My community
okay,
is
but
like they know I'm being tortured right now.
we need a shark pineapple pizza emote. Can that be a charity fundraising goal?
Yes.
I need 1,000 subs to unlock an emote slot, so it's probably not gonna happen.
Well, thank you so much to both of you amazing ladies for having a discussion with me today. And Tiltify, so appreciative to have you both. And I know you're both busy, so thank you for taking time out of your busy month. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Of course.
And grab some food, hydrate, both of you. Okay, I get on
Yes.
people. You better eat some food,
Yeah.
hydrate,
Listen.
take a break. Okay.
It's really hot today too.
Pride is a
Woo!
marathon, not a sprint. Has been
Correct.
my motto for a long time.
I love that. Oh my goodness. And it's
Take anything.
101 in California today. So I'm just going to sit back under the air conditioner and relax. Oof.
Look.
It's hot. It's hot.
Mhm.
But we are all set. Thank you everyone for watching. Everyone have a great day and happy Pride. Bye.
Bye.